working to be the best English teacher you can is not only a great investment in your career, but will help all the students you teach. In language teaching, skills are often discussed in terms of four different modes. That is, the first reading, number two listening, number three speaking, and last about writing. Now, in this session, I will discuss about listening. Listening skills. As a professional listener, you will obviously not have achieved understanding in any of these illustrative situations by simple hearing the sound. You will have been processing the stream of noise on a number of levels, which taken together make up the concept of comprehension. It's part of both listening skills, processing sound. Full understanding, we have note, cannot come from the sound source alone, but equally obviously, it cannot take place without some processing of what one student of our acquaintance has called a word sound. It most basic. A language completely unknown to us will sound of our ears like a stream of sound. Assuming, however, the listener can identify which language is being spoken, then they must have the capacity to do at least the following. First, segment the stream of sound and recognize word boundaries. This is complicated in English because of the phenomenon whereby in connected speech, one sound runs into the next. The example, I like it, sounds like I like it, or I like it. My name's Anne, like my name is Zen, or my name Zen, and so on. And next, about processing sound. Recognize contract forms. I would have gone to London if I would have known about its sounds very different from its footprint from in many grammar book examples. Number two, recognize the vocabulary being used. And the last, recognize sentence and clause boundaries in speech. And the next, about pre-listening activities. The principal function of these activities, which are now common in teaching materials, is to be established a framework for listening so that learners do not approach the listening practice with no points of reference. This perspective is clearly in line with the use of knowledge schema and establishing of a context. And the next, about activities, include the following. The first, a short reading passage on similar topic, predicting content from the title, commenting on a picture or photograph. Number two, reading through comprehension, question and advance, working out your own opinion on a topic. And the next, about listening activities. We mean tasks carried out during or after listening that directly require comprehension, of the spoken material. We find here a basic and quite standard distinction between extensive and intensive listening. Extensive listening, or whatever term is used, is mainly concerned to promote overall global comprehension and encourage learners not to worry if they do not grasp every word. And the next, based on Nanya and Farrell in 2011, argue for the value of extensive listening to facilitate language acquisition even at lower level by providing experience of listening to meaningful, enjoyable, and comprehensible spoken text. They list various online sources that teachers can access. The range of possible activities for extensive listening is enormous. Which one are selected will depend largely on proficiency. In the early stages, learners may well need support in a non-verbal form. Next, Madinah and Farrell in 2011 argue for the value of extensive listening to facilitate language extensive at lower level by providing experience to listening to meaningful, enjoyable, and comprehensible spoken text. The list various online sources that teachers can access. The range of possible activities for extensive listening is enormous, and which one are selected will depend largely on proficiency. Listening activities. In the early stage, learners may well need support in a non-verbal form, like putting pictures in a correct sequence, following direction on a map. Number 2, checking of items in photograph, and last, completing a grid, timetable, or chart of information. And the next, post-listening activities. We shall only comment briefly here on these activities because they are usually not listening exercise as such. The category is open-ended and looks ahead to our discussion on the integration of skills at the end of this part of the book. Essentially, the post-listening stage is an opportunity for many kinds of follow-up work, thematic, lexical, grammatical, and skills development, and so on. Here are just a few examples. Using notes while listening to write a summary, reading a related text, and the second, doing a role play, and the number 3, writing on the same theme, and the last, studying new grammatical structures, practicing pronunciation. So, the last about my PPT discussion about conclusion. Well, listening comprehension has a number of roles to play within language course, and its importance clearly depends on the aims of the program as whole. It may only to be a minor feature, just to give learners exposure to what English sounds like. Alternatively, it may have a major function for someone planning to study in an English-speaking country or to interact extensively of the language. Well, I hope from all my PPT give us useful to everyone that hunting reference. And don't forget, please subscribe my channel and see you on the next time. Bye-bye. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Permin.